Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Monday, May 18th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with you, ready to break down Game 7. Nothing better than that. Montreal Canadiens and Buffalo Sabres here in the second round of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. And keep in mind, Montreal has now been a participant in the only 2 Game 7s that we have seen so far here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So they certainly know what this is all about. Will it give them an advantage tonight? We'll talk about it in just a moment. Looking forward to it, of course. The series has been tremendous. There's no question about that. But before we get into previewing Game 7 for the Habs and Sabres tonight, we do have a Betcast announcement to drop for our great viewers and listeners right now.
This is breaking news from the Ice Guys.
We will be with you Thursday night for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final. It'll be obviously either the Montreal Canadiens or the Buffalo Sabres taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Who? What? Do they still play in this league? Carolina? You wouldn't think so. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen them actually take the ice and play a hockey game. 12 days it will have been by the time we drop the puck of Game 1 on Thursday night. But we will be with you for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final on Thursday night, May 21st, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Again, it'll be either the Montreal Canadiens or the Buffalo Sabres taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. This is a exclusive Patreon Betcast, so make sure you are with us at patreon.com/iceguys. $10 per month will be on for Game 1 of the East Final Thursday night for our Patreon members. And we will probably be on for one of the games next week for the Western Conference Final. We'll do the Western Conference Final for a Betcast night next week. So make sure you join us, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. And again, we'll be with you Thursday night for the Eastern Conference Final, Game 1. Just a quick note on Saturday's crazy Game 6. I mean, when it was 3-1 Montreal, 3 goals on 3 shots on Alex Lyon. And, Lindy Ruff did the only thing he could do there. He had to get Lyon out of the net. He just had to. I mean, I didn't love the Jack-Eye goal that went off his glove from the point, and he saw it all the way, and it went off his glove. I thought he could have had that. The second goal, you can't blame him. One-time rocket from Ivan Demidov. Nothing he can do there on the power play. But the Jake Evans goal, you got to have it. 2-on-1 short-handed. It was a backbreaker to give that up for Montreal to have 3 goals on 3 shots. Lindy Ruff could not fart around. He had to take Alex Lyon out, clearly struggled, clearly was not ready to start that game and be at his best, and put Ukko Pekka Luukkonen in UPL, and he didn't hesitate. Went right to UPL. And then, of course, I think a big high-sticking double minor that Matheson took led to a extended Buffalo power play when they were down 3-1. And they capitalized on it to make it 3-2. And from that moment, it felt like it was all Buffalo for the rest of the game. Incredible turnaround. And that's something for Buffalo to turn that game around the way they did, the way that building was rocking. Larry Robinson, as we surmised on Saturday's show, being the torchbearer. 3-1 start. Roof was going to blow off the Bell Center with how loud it was with the strong start by Montreal. But at the end of the day, Buffalo didn't play that poorly. Despite being down 3-1, they were carrying the play. It was just 3 shots, 3 goals. I mean, that's just insane. And for them to fight their way out of that, not get down, not get demoralized and say, oh, well, guess what? We gave it a great season. It's not our season, not our night. And they could have easily thought that, Alex, when it was 3-1, but they didn't. They kept on playing, and then they just took over the rest of the game, and it was not a great night for a lot of Canadiens players. The top line was bad. Slafkovsky was brutal defensively. Fell down in the neutral zone, which led to Buffalo's first goal in the opening minute from Dahlin. I mean, it was just a brutal night all around for the Habs, especially their top players. It was not Jakob Dobish's one of his better games. There was a couple I thought he could have had, including the Quinn goal, the one-timer, and then he got replaced by Jacob Fowler, and I like that decision. You knew the game was out of reach in the third period. Keep him fresh. Get him a blow, get him a chance to catch his breath, have him ready for Game 7 because you're going back to him tonight in Game 7, and putting Jacob Fowler in was the right call there. But incredible turnaround from 3-1 down, and the Buffalo Sabres with 7 unanswered to blow the doors off the Montreal Canadiens 8-3 in Game 6 to set up this Game 7 tonight.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, that was a huge momentum shift in the biggest way possible, because we talked about how important it was for Montreal to take advantage of their wonderful home ice. You were already in this spot before and you blew it in the first round. And to get this chance again and to have a lead, no less, and what seemed to be a strong lead, and like I said, just kind of a demoralizing, path that Buffalo was going toward, and for everything to just flip around like that now, it's hard to fathom where they get the energy now to have to go on the road into what's going to be another hostile environment and have to try to close out of the Game 7.
Yeah, we're going to find out. Like we know, we'll get into it in a minute. I mean, there's a lot of things that point to Montreal going into tonight. The road record, that it's been a road series, road ice advantage essentially in this series, home ice disadvantage in this series, and Montreal's perfection off a loss, which I will certainly mention when we get into that game preview moving forward. But there is an element of, wow, you not only got beat on your home ice, you got just dummied. You got absolutely taken apart. Can you truly respond from that? It'll be truly another test of whether Montreal can prove that bounce back ability one more time here tonight in Game 7. And Lindy Ruff, other than starting Lyon, which did not pan out, but that's the one mistake he made with his lineup in Game 6. But he eradicated that mistake correctly, because he got to UPL right away when it was 3-1. He could not keep Alex Lyon in net for another minute the way that game started for him. And he made the change to UPL right away. And every other lineup change, Zach Metsa was terrific. I thought he was steady. He's more mobile than a Luke Shen or a Logan Stanley, transports the puck better. That addition into the lineup was outstanding by Lindy Ruff in Game 6. All his lineup changes, really, they worked, for the most part. They were great. And all the shake-up in the lines, putting Benson on the top line. And I'll tell you what, he's earned it with the way he's played in this series, giving them a different look. Norris, Thompson, and Benson on the top line. I was worried maybe splitting up Benson and Doan could hurt Buffalo a bit. Didn't really. Benson, Benson, Norris, and Thompson was outstanding. Consta Helenus gets it done for us with a bargain bin special at back-to-back games with a goal for him. That line had a great night for the Sabres as well, with Jack Quinn, of course, scored multiple goals, and Zucker, who got on the board. They all scored in Game 6. Zucker, Helenus, and Quinn, that line. So Greenway, Krebs, and Malenstein turned into an effective physical forechecking, slam people into the boards type of line for Buffalo. And, of course, everybody on the blue line was pretty damn good. Byram, I thought Power had a really strong game. Timmins had a bounce-back game after a rough Game 5. Dahlin and Samuelson were outstanding. Dahlin with 5 points, by the way. 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points in the Game 6 victory for the Buffalo Sabres. So, like I said, well done by them. Lindy pushed all the right buttons. Now what's Marty St. Louis got in his bag of tricks for a counterpunch tonight? What's he going to do with his lineups? Because there's a lot of people that think they should make some changes. Buffalo made changes. It worked. Is Montreal going to go that route here tonight in a winner-take-all Game 7? With that in mind, let's get into it. Game 7, Montreal-Buffalo, KeyBank Center, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, ESPN, with the lead team of Sean McDonough, Ray Ferraro, Emily Kaplan on hand. Buffalo -120, home favorites, 5.5 the total. And, of course, winner faces Carolina in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final on Thursday. Let's start with the obvious thing that I'm going to go to right away. No team has shown a better ability to park one bad game, one bad performance, erase it from their memory bank, come ready to play, and get the job done. Nobody's done that better, really, in the NHL for the last 2 months than the Montreal Canadiens. Nobody. This has been a team that has completely shown time and time again. We have a bad game, we can get right back on the horse and bounce back. Perfect 5-0 off a loss in the playoffs, a winning 5-2 record on the road. Those are right away signs that would point you in the direction of, well, Montreal has consistently been able to bring their A game and their best after a bad performance. They already have won a Game 7 on the road here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. This very group when they went to Tampa Bay in Game 7 of the first round and beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. There is some bit of asterisk to that win, though. Obviously, they got heavily outplayed. They got heavily outshot. Jakub Dobeš played probably the best game I think he still played in the playoffs to this point in that Game 7 victory against Tampa Bay. And Montreal was very opportunistic on, there was a deflection for their first goal in that game. We remember Alex Newhook, his hot streak started with him banking a puck off Andrei Vasilevsky and in for what ended up being the 2-1 goal in Game 7. But it's not like the Habs played great in that Game 7. They won, but they were heavily outplayed. They are going to have to do a little bit better as far as not be stuck in their own zone to that extent, because Buffalo might make Montreal pay a lot more than Tampa Bay did in that Game 7 in the first round. That's definitely something to keep in mind. A lot of the things, too, when you look at Buffalo, the lineups decisions were great, as we mentioned. UPL is going to be in net. There's no question. It's not even a debate anymore. And look, it looked like UPL had fallen out of favor after Game 5, but it was just such a rough start for Lyon. And UPL comes in there, and he's great. He doesn't allow a goal, in the latter 2.5 periods after he entered that game. Lindy Ruff's got to go to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen tonight here in Game 7. For Montreal, there's also no debate who's in net. It's Jakub Dobeš. You're absolutely going back to him. His numbers off a loss have been every bit as dominant and tremendous as his team's record off a loss as well. He's been able to bounce back. Is there a little element of, little fatigue? He's faced a lot, played a lot of hockey, faced a lot of rubber here in these playoffs, potentially, but he's been able to bounce back strong, as is his team. We'll see if they can do that one more time. I would say if I had to put on my guesstimation cap, if you will, what Marty St. Louis is going to do, I think somehow, some way, Brendan Gallagher's in Game 7 tonight. I don't know why I think that. I'm not going to say he's going to tip the scales in Montreal's favor or score a goal or anything like that, but I just have that feeling that a veteran presence and someone that's going to play the game hard. We always talk about how, his foot speed's maybe not great for a series like this. That's probably been the hesitancy at times to put him in. But I could see Marty St. Louis drawing on that experience, and maybe a bit of a boost, because everybody to a man on the Montreal Canadiens loves Brendan Gallagher as a teammate. And maybe that's just an emotional lift that Marty St. Louis hopes putting in a guy like Brendan Gallagher can deliver for this hockey team here in a Game 7 tonight. Not saying it's going to happen, and I have no confirmation at all if he's going to go down that route, but that you do have options. You do have options if you want to make a change. And I would think Veleno might be the guy that would come out. I don't think anybody else would. You're not taking out Josh Anderson, Texier. I don't think you're taking out Bolduc. You're probably not even taking out Kirby Dach either at this point. You need a big body in there. I think Veleno would come out, and you'd probably put in maybe an Oliver Kapanen, live legs. He hasn't played in a while, but there's been rumblings. Maybe they turn to him, Kapanen, to come into the lineup here. Or, like I said, a Brendan Gallagher. Those are the two candidates I could see being the lineup change up front. I don't know about on defense. I can't see him going to a Jaden Struble or Adam Engstrom. I can't see it. I think he's going to keep with the 6 that he's had for this entire series on the blue line: Matheson, Carrier, Hudson, Dobson, Jackeye, and Caden Gooley. I don't think there's going to be any changes on the blue line. The one change I could see happening is up front. From a betting standpoint, with the side and the total, I'm going to be on Montreal tonight. Now, do I feel like this is as confident as I've been in the past? It's been an auto bet for me here in the playoffs. Montreal off a loss. Montreal off a loss. I've said it over and over and over again. And that is why I'm going to be on the Montreal Canadiens here, plus 100. But there is an element to them, an element in this game of them losing by that kind of score, 8-3. It could be almost earth-shattering to a team to lose like that the way they did in Game 6. And this will be not as easy we'll pick ourselves up off the mat and win like they've done every single time off a loss here in the playoffs. May not be as easy to do that. But at the end of the day, they've been a good road team. They have not lost 2 in a row since March. It was the regular season the last time this Montreal Canadiens team lost 2 games in a row. And this is no, obviously, shade on Buffalo and their ability to win this game. They certainly could. Of course they could. These are 2 excellent teams. Been a back and forth. Been a crazy series. Momentum swings galore. But I'm just going to ride it. I mean, Montreal has rewarded me time and time and time and time again off a loss in the playoffs, and I'm going to go back to it here with them plus 100. Now, the total is where things get interesting, okay? Because the total in this series, other than game one, where it was pretty much 5.5 across the board, we have not seen a 5.5 across the board in this series since game one. Game 2 to 6, we're all 6 and even 6.5 as far as the total. But this is 5.5. And why is that? Because it's game 7. The odds makers do pad the totals lower in a game 7 because, in general, these games are lower scoring, tighter checking, more block shots, more emphasis on defense, teams not willing to take maybe as many risks in the offensive zone. And as a result, and the long-term numbers bear that out. We know long-term the game 7 unders have been profitable here in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. But here's my problem with betting the under here tonight in game 7. The series has just been so crazy and up and down, and no team's been able to button it up or lock it down really at any point in this series. So if you're going to go under 5.5 simply because of, it's game 7, this will be the game for sure. They're going to tighten it up. They're going to button things up tonight in the defensive zone. If that's your reasoning, you're predicting something that we have not even been close to seeing at any point in this series defensively. We have not seen any of these teams be able to just really shut the other down. And that's what makes this a game 7 under not so automatic in my mind. It isn't. We've talked about game 7's the game 7 SGP that I always bet. I'm still going to bet that. I'm still going to bet because it has been good. It has been strong. It cashed in the Montreal Tampa Bay game 7 in the first round. Overall, for the last 3-4 playoff years combined, it is a profitable bet in game 7 to go plus 2.5 both sides with under 6.5 for the full game total. Minus 120, by the way, is what I got that price for that at Bet365. Plus 2.5 Montreal, plus 2.5 Buffalo. Alternative puck line with under 6.5, minus 120. I bet that just because it's become a system play for me in game 7s. It just is, and it's been profitable. So I took that. But I can't look at this game tonight, Alex, and say, at the end of the night when this game's over, I can't look at this game and say, well, it turned into another high-scoring affair, and if I didn't bet the over by Fecta, I'd have a hard time sleeping tonight, quite honestly. I really would. I'd have a hard time sleeping tonight if I stayed off what's been just a cash cow, just repeatedly coming through in this series, which is the over by Fecta, and I didn't bet it simply because it was game 7. I'd have a hard time living with that one, personally.
I get that.
I'm on the over by Fecta here, for better or worse, even though it's game 7. I mean, these teams are going to have to show they can totally shut it down, tighten it up. The goalies are going to have to stand up and look like Dominic Hasek in his prime on the Buffalo side if you're UPL, Patrick Waugh, Ken Dryden on the Montreal side if you're Jakub Dobeš tonight. And I just think it's been like this has been a really wide open, just defensively at times borderline irresponsible series on both sides. And the power plays are starting to really heat up and click for both sides, especially Buffalo's. So I just feel it's at 5.5. It's too much of an adjustment to this simply being game 7. So my bigger position is the over by Fecta. My smaller bet is the plus 2.5, under 6.5 SGP with the hope that if, it is one of these typical game 7s, which I still have my doubts, but if it is one of these typical game 7s where it's 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2, then at least we're going to minimize the damage with that bet if we lose the over by Fecta. So that's the approach. It's like kind of like an insurance bet, the SGP, in case this does actually tighten up. But I've got more on the over by Fecta. I'm going to have to see it defensively. Game 7 be damned. This has been a wide open series, and I've got to see these teams button this thing up before I'm ready to buy in that it's going to happen. Alex, what do you think? Game 7, Montreal, Buffalo.
This was going to be my suggestion to you because I was going to talk to you obviously about that SGP and in talking with now you seeing about this over 5.5. Would you adjust your total number because you can get the both sides it's plus 2.5 with the under 7.5 at minus 130 over at a FanDuel. You can even go up to 8.5 minus 149. So you can give yourself some wiggle room and still play
I didn't know the
the
price
over
was
by
that
fact.
good there. It wasn't last night when I checked at FanDuel and a couple other places. Oh, it's gotten better.
Right
I would
now,
definitely 7.5 for sure at the very least. Give yourself as much insurance in a series like this. Give yourself as much insurance as you can. If you can bump that to 7.5, even 8.5, I would say go for it.
So I'm not one to lay minus 140, 150 on a lot of things, especially playoff time. But I'm thinking that's going to be on my card with the 8.5 split with those 2s and 2.5s, because I don't see. Do you see a 4-4 game necessarily? Even if it's high scoring, that's a bit much for a game 7, even with how these defenses have played so far.
I think there's still going to be goals, but I think it's more of the 3-3 realm, 2-2 realm, 3-2 third period, something like that. I mean, I'd be shocked. That being said, we're talking about we'd be shocked if it's a 5-4 game. There's parts of me that, with the way these teams have just been frittering away defensively in this series, parts of me would be shocked, just as shocked, if not more, if it's a 2-1 game tonight.
Yeah.
Like, I can't necessarily see that, but just because it's game 7, it's going to be 2-1.
And this is the only thing that scares
it's hard to buy into that. It really is.
Yeah. And it scares me because of the fact that, like I said, how Game 6 ended and how Game 6 went. And there's a possibility that Buffalo could just pick up right where they left off. And this is 6-1, Sabres. That's the one thing that scares me about looking at that total and that SGP. So check the Patreon page where I'll officially have. You guys got me?
Yeah, it cut out for a minute, but we got you back. Yep.
Got back. Okay. Yeah. Yep. So check the Patreon page as far as the SGP goes. But as far as the side goes, I am Buffalo. I grabbed minus 110 this morning. I can't back Montreal. Like I said, we've trusted this Montreal team off a loss all year long. But I can't back a Habs team that lost the way that they did, knowing what spot they were in. And we talk about this all the time with playoff teams. You have to, learn how to lose before you can learn how to win. This is still a young Montreal team as far as playoff experience. And right now, like I said, I've been saying it all along with the Buffalo, they feel like a team of destiny right now. And to be able to get the chance to come back in that fashion on the road, very hostile environment, and get that win, I just feel like that's momentum that can carry over, especially at home, especially with their rabid fan base. If they get on the board first, it may be all gas, no brakes. So, like I said, I am on Buffalo minus $1.10, but I'm still on the fence about hitting that SGP. Like I said, check the Patreon page where I will officially have that.
There you go. So there we go. We're on opposite sides here for Game 7. I like it. Montreal for me. Alex going with the Buffalo Sabres. And I think you can make good cases for both of these teams, even with the 5-0 run for the Montreal Canadiens off a loss. Like I said, this is going to be their biggest challenge of bouncing back that they've had. The Tampa Bay game was a game where they actually played well and lost that 1-0 game in overtime. This was, you got dummied. You got pulverized in Game 6 Saturday night. Like, it looked like you weren't even close to as good as them Saturday night in Montreal. So that's a different type of bounce back. Like, Game 6, you felt we were probably the better team still against Tampa, because I thought Montreal did outplay Tampa. Vasilevsky was outstanding that Game 6, his best game of that series, and they ended up winning 1-0 in overtime with the Gonçalves goal. But this will be the bigger test, because they took it to you big time. But they've been the epitome of bouncing back, and there is that element that Jimmy Franz in our chat just posted. Buffalo franchises are cursed. No way they win a Game 7. There's some truth to that. I mean, it's not like Buffalo's the hubbub of success, especially in the playoffs.
It's not like Canadian teams have done really well in these Stanley Cup playoffs over the years either.
There's always a counter argument in these kind of games, Game 7s. For every argument that's pro the team you like, there's a counter argument against the team you like. And that's why you can go on and on all day and all night with pro and con arguments for back in Montreal and for back in Buffalo here tonight. For Game 7. But again, we're on Montreal here, plus 100. Now, they didn't keep it. I think the last time they were off a loss, Buffalo scored the first goal. It was Game 5. They were off the loss, but Buffalo actually scored the first goal. So I'm just going to go Montreal goal in the first period here in this, safer with the Montreal goal in the first period. And like I said, over by Fecta. I will be on that, along with the standard system play Game 7 SGP. Montreal plus 2.5, Buffalo plus 2.5, and I'm going to go that under 7.5 is what I'm going to recommend now here on the show. Minus 130 at FanDuel. I don't want to lay minus 149. That's a little too pricey for me. The 8.5, but the 7.5 minus 130. And the nice thing about the 7.5 is 4-3 covers it. If it ends 4-3, you're a winner, and I could see that maybe being the score tonight here in Game 7. As far as props, conceptually, I'm not. I'm just going to be quick with these because it's repeating a lot of the same bets we've been on recently. We're going to be on Dahlin over shots, Tuck over shots, Newhook over shots. We're going to be on any goal, assist, point props for Josh Doan, Zach Benson, who on the top line was outstanding. We're going to be on our guy, Helen Wheels, Consta Helenus once again. Of course we have to be. Goal and assist prop, 100%. He's looking for his third straight game with a goal. And keep in mind, he had 2 glorious chances his first game entering the lineup, and he got robbed by Dobish on one, hit the post on the other. Demidov, you have to bet, 100%. Demidov is a streaky player. He's now gone back-to-back games with a goal, after not being able to put the puck in the ocean for the entirety of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, yeah, Ivan Demidov, goal prop, 100%. Got to look at that. I would look at the shots on goal, too, for him. It was 1.5 in the last game, which was cheap. And now that he's got the confidence back, he's shooting the puck more. It's very simple logic. When you start to see the puck go in and you start to see the goals go in, you start to shoot more because your confidence comes back. And that's exactly what we're seeing with Ivan Demidov right now for Montreal. So any of those props are worth a look as well. Jakub Dobish over saves, I could see it. I actually think that could be worth a bet, Jakub Dobish over saves. He flew over his saves prop Game 7 against Tampa Bay in the first round.
You don't worry about him getting pulled again if it's an early onslaught?
I can't see it. I honestly think they stick with him through thick or thin tonight. I don't think this is the same as if he gets blitzed like Alex Lyon did in Game 6 in Montreal. I think they would stick with him. Yeah, there's some concern of that, but I don't know if
if UPL gets blitzed. I don't see UPL getting pulled in that spot either. You know what I'm saying? So, but I just wonder with Dobish is a little different.
Yeah, but Dobish over saves does make sense because he got peppered with shots in Game 7 by Tampa Bay on the road in the first round. Went way over his saves prop. And I think he's on a streak of 2 in a row now where he's gone over his saves prop. 4 of the last 5, 7 of the last 10, he's gone over his saves prop as well. So those are the main props. I mean, I'm going to have more, but I'll save them for Patreon later when I post the card. Those are the main ones. Those are the ones I'm going to have the most on. The usual suspects. Doan, Benson. We like Dahlin over shots. I think Dahlin goal prop makes sense too. I think that's because he scored the last game. He's shooting the puck a lot. The Dahlin goal prop, don't be scared to bet that. 100%. Benson, we got to go with Helenus, like I said, with just how great he's been. And like I said, Ivan Demidov is probably my favorite on the Montreal side here. I can't trust Slafkovsky anymore. He's fallen right off at the moment. And defensively, he's been a disaster at times. So maybe he comes alive here, and he is a big game player. He did it at the Olympics for Slovakia, did it early in the playoffs, but I'm wondering, there's something up with him. He just hasn't looked right here these last few games. And you got to hope if you're Montreal, Caulfield and Suzuki are a lot better than they were in Game 6 as well. They're going to need to be. Tage Thompson's going to have a big game. Tage Thompson finally had a really good game in Game 6. Multi-points. He's going to have a big game and step it up for Buffalo. This is a game, for immortality, right? They always say Game 7. Your best players got to be your best players. And those are the guys they're going to have to bring it for their respective clubs here tonight. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Looking forward, obviously, to Game 7 tonight. We won't be on tomorrow, okay? No show tomorrow because there's no games to talk about, but we will be back on Wednesday, same time, 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll get you ready for the Western Conference Final. We'll have series thoughts, series bets, like always, over-under goals, points for the series, most goals in the series, most assists in the series. We almost cashed Brett Howden, leading goal scorer in the Vegas series. Mitch Marner, unfortunately, topped him. But nevertheless, we will have some series bets for you Wednesday for Vegas, Colorado. And, of course, we'll preview Game 1 for Wednesday night on the Wednesday show, Vegas, Colorado. And just a reminder, in case you missed it earlier, this week, 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, live Betcast, Eastern Conference Final, Game 1, Patreon exclusive, Montreal or Buffalo taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, 8 p.m. Eastern, Thursday night, make sure you join us for that. WizardSportsPicks.com. Check out the website, NHL, NBA, MLB, and check out the YouTube channel. Lots of content going there right now as well, WizardSportsPicks.com. And, of course, Patreon.com/IceGuys, $10 per month to be part of that Betcast on Thursday night, plus daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. I've been asked a couple times by the Patreon members, and they're good questions. When are we going to start the card for the sports other than hockey? June 1st. We're not actually going to wait till the end of the Stanley Cup final. June 1st. On days where there's no NHL, I'll have some plays up there in the other sports starting June 1st. So be on the lookout for that. For those of you that want to keep your Patreon memberships going throughout the off season and the summer months, our free agency recap show that we do every year in July, that will be Patreon exclusive once again. So reasons to stick around and keep your membership going through the summer months, $10 per month. Get on board at patreon.com/IceGuys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You have 2 days left to save 20% off all items in the store. Hit that redeem button at the homepage, add your items to your cart, and 20% will be taken off the checkout. So this is a great time. Summer's right here. I mean, the weather's getting really nice and warm all over the place. It's a great time to grab a couple T-shirts, maybe a cap, grab whatever you want. You can save 20% off in the next 2 days at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There you go. Exactly. The weather's warming up here. It's 90 here today. So, yeah, we've got the warm weather, and it's great. It's a great day for a holiday as well. It's Victoria. By the way, happy Victoria Day, everyone north of the border. And you got to wonder, too, what's that going to mean for the Habs fans turnout at the game tonight? It is a Canadian holiday today. So does that mean there's even more Habs jerseys tonight at KeyBank Center in Buffalo than you would expect? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. And by the way, great news. I like the Buffaloes doing this. I actually like the way Lindy Ruff's approaching this. Doesn't mean Buffalo's going to win, but I love how they're going about it. Hotel on their way back to Buffalo, staying in a hotel, treating this like a road game, trying to simulate a road game day experience, essentially. Mm-hmm. I think you have to try it at this point with how much you've had issues at home, both of these teams. So I like it. I also like that they're bringing in the near 30-year anthem singer of the Sabres. He did it from the 90s to 2021. Doug Allen is going to be back doing the anthems tonight for this big game. So they're pulling out all the stops here, Buffalo, for a big Game 7 home victory. We'll see if they're able to get it. And a good point by Robert. Game 7s, you're right, the whistles usually get put away. There's less penalties. Referees don't want to step in the way of a Game 7 deciding it. So that's what usually is the biggest cause to helping unders when it comes to Game 7s. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. I probably can already guess, because I'm going to give you one from each team. You can pretty much already guess which one I'll be on one of the teams, but we'll save that for a moment. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night for Game 7.
Yeah, I'm just rolling with one here, and I'm going with Buffalo's Josh Doan. You can get him over at DraftKings to score a goal plus 380. It's the best price available. Like I said, I think this is where big time he steps up, coming in that second line. Skating again tonight. So Josh Doan, anytime goal scorer, plus 380. That is my bargain bin special for this Game 7.
Good stuff. Bargain bin special of the night for me. If I had gone with him in Game 6, he would have cashed for me. I went with Josh Anderson instead. He's heating up. We know he can snipe. What a beauty of a one-timer in Game 6 for the Montreal Canadiens. Give me Ivan Demidov for the Montreal Canadiens, plus 330. Best price out there for him to find the back of the net. Ivan Demidov, Montreal plus 330. And come on, you know who the Buffalo bargain bin is. Helen Wheels. Consta Helenus for the third straight game, hopefully, able to find the back of the net for the Buffalo Sabres. Consta Helenus, Buffalo plus 725. I still can't believe these freaking prices.
Even higher than last time.
Yeah. 725 BetMGM, 700 at DraftKings as far as the prices here for Consta Helenus. So there you go. I feel good about these. I really think we got 2-0. I know now, look, there could be less goals. It's game 7. I get that. But I feel good about these. I think we got a real shot here for 2-0. Ivan Demidov, Montreal plus 330. Consta Helenus, Buffalo plus 725 for my 2 bargain bin specials for game 7 between the Canadiens and Sabres. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you got for best bet?
Montreal had a prime chance to close the door on this series, and they absolutely blew it. I just think this is just too much to overcome. Give me the Buffalo Sabres here on the money line, minus $1.10 to win game 7.
Buffalo minus 120. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. And yes, I grew up a Sabres fan, but it doesn't cloud my betting judgment. This is going to be a very rare head-to-head best bet here for game 7. Bleu, blanc, rouge, le Canadien, le Canadien. 5-0 off a loss. I think we've been on Montreal every time after a loss in these playoffs. The price is like even money. I'm seeing plus 106 is actually the best price out there right now with the Montreal Canadiens. They've just shown the heart and the will and the ability time and time again to bounce back, put to the ultimate test to be sure after an 8-3 beatdown in game 6 on Saturday night. But like I said, I will go back to the well with Montreal off a loss. It's just been an outstanding team in this situation, and we'll see if they can do it one more time here tonight in Buffalo against the Sabres. So Montreal plus 106 here in game 7. That'll be my best bet here for this game 7 for Monday night. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. Thanks for tuning in. Again, we're off tomorrow, but we're back on Wednesday, and I'm excited to talk Vegas, Colorado. There's a lot of intriguing matchup storylines to talk about. We'll get into all of those on Wednesday to talk the series and game 1 between the Golden Knights and the Avs Western Conference Final on Wednesday. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy Game 7 between the Montreal Canadiens and Buffalo Sabres. Let's all hope it delivers the goods, and we've got a great game on our hands. And we will talk to you again on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.